You know, Ben, I have to confess something. Our observer here is one of the very few observers that I've ever seen that uses the structure tab in the beginning of the game. And at least 7 times today, I'm like, Nexus first!
I had the same thing. I was like, oh my god, CC first versus Nexus first? This situation's crazy.
I know. I've had this like 6 times already. And I'm like ready to lose my brain. And I'm like, oh, structure step. I'm like, yeah, I guess they do spawn with the main build.
I am so happy that you brought it up because, yeah, it got me by surprise a few times. By the way, it is so nice to see, like, I know for a long time, a lot of Europeans kind of mocked the NA scene for having too many slots. But this might be one of the first times ever that I'm actually a little bit sad about NA only having 2 slots. Because honestly, the amount of potential and the amount of like good players that they have, like not seeing Scarlet down to the season finals kind of thing, it is amazing.
Yeah, obviously that's sad, right? Would have loved to see Scarlet there. Would have loved to see Australia, Future, and Neeb. I mean, those are just 4 fantastic representatives, but there are only 16 slots available. Don't forget, Europe only has 4, right? A couple of great Europeans missed out as well.
It makes sense, yeah.
I mean, technically we have 5 because Risky stole a spot. That's good, pretty cool.
That is true. That is true. A nice little thieving done, you know, kind of rocked up the Australian scene there. It was, bit of banter, bit of banter. Okay, so starting off this game, we have a barracks opening, obviously, for the Terran. Going for a reactor follow-up before the factory. That means he'll be whipping out a lot of Marines very, very early on, going for a bunker as well. So everything's safe on Future's side of the map. And on Neeb's, how do you feel about the very early shield battery? This has become more standard, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is just I don't want to deal with Reaper's shield battery. If you really want to shade your first units to the other side of the map, that's fine. Wow. Double command center, by the way, from Future. Okay, well, that's not the Future I expected. That doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be a super macro-oriented game. This can also just be, let's get economically ahead and, you know, then have a super strong 3-base push. Something that I think you're familiar with as well, Ben. I mean, yeah, that shield battery, I think it only makes sense. You kind of need it. Otherwise, you can't send your first unit to the other side of the map because you're going to lose 5 probes against any Terran that's good with Reapers. And let me tell you, Future is great with Reapers.
Yeah, oh, nice to get that SCV that was Maynard transferring over. Wow, wow, wow. Going Dark Shrining at 3 CC opening.
Welcome to NA, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, this is definitely a crazy opening by both of them. I mean, going for the early engineering bay 2 is Future. Do you think that must be mainly for upgrades, right? But is it also for safety?
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to get a very quick +1. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have plenty of scans available and the possibility to build missile turrets. And I also, for some reason, have the feeling this Reaper is randomly going to run into the Dark Shrine. But it is actually kind of committing. There are 2 Stalkers right now, so that's not going to happen. This Reaper should always go down here. And that Reaper did get into the main base ban, and nothing was upgrading on the Twilight Council. Now, I think if you're really paying attention, which I hope that Future is, that should be a little bit weird. 4 minutes into the game. Nobody has Blink 4 minutes into the game. So why is nothing being upgraded?
No, yeah, you're definitely right. Like, if he's absolutely on song, like, if this was a ladder game, he'd be like, okay, that Twilight's not doing anything. Something's up here for sure. But the fact that this is a tournament situation and maybe nerves could be paying a bit of a, you know, playing a part. Maybe he's just like, okay, I'll be fine with my 3 CCs, but he doesn't know what he's up against right now for sure.
Yep. For the people who don't know, obviously, there is a little indicator that the Twilight Council is researching something. Often it will be chrono boosted as well, but you'll see it in the lights that go towards the top. I don't think he picked up on it, Ben, and I don't want to be too hard on it, obviously, because what you're saying is spot on. Earlier today, I said about Clem, that could have very well been the biggest best of 5 that he ever played in his career. I think the same can be said about Future here, right? This is like he's been to tournaments. He traveled to Australia and he won a little tournament there. He did great at the Philadelphia, but this is the biggest stage. He did not pick up on it. He could be a bit nervous, and these Dark Templars are already going to do more than I feel like they ever should have.
And I'm checking out the energy. He does have 1 scan available now, so that does work out. And is throwing up a turret in the natural.
The prism, though, Ben.
Yes, I love what Neeb's doing here. He's kind of running it. Oh, he ran right into it. But we see that there's only 1 scan left available here. There will be a second one shortly, but these DTs already feels like they're getting a lot of damage done.
Yep, at least more than they should have had, right? Another scan goes down. You might not get that Dark Templar in the main base. Marines without steam are so slow. At least the turret is done, though. The Dark Templar and the Natural still being a real nuisance as well. My goodness, this is actually so much damage. Way, way more than it ever should have been.
Oh, I mean, this is quite a fortunate surround here with the SVs. Nice by Future to actually go for that in the first place. But 13 SVs did fall, and it was a lot of lost mining time. And also, we can't forget, that was a lot of scans not used on mules. This is definitely a good start for Neeb.
Whoa, we see an Archon, by the way. 2 Dark Templars are morphing into an Archon. Neeb has to be really careful. Neeb is notorious for losing Warp Prisms, and Stim is done. Uh-oh. I don't like this, but so far, so good.
I'm not sure. I think that was an intentional split by Future, where he just had 1 Marine ahead.
He's setting up the flank band. A couple of Marines coming in from the top side. Neeb. Oh, he gets out of there. Well done.
Yeah, so far Neeb's been playing really well this game. Look at the probe count as well, Kev. 63 to 42. Taking a 4th base at the 6-minute 30 mark. Neeb's in his comfort zone here. This is really good to see.
And the boys are being pulled. If you guys take a look at the mini-map, you're like, oh my goodness, Future's got a lot of units. It's mostly SCVs, and I mean, there is firepower in this army, but if Neeb picks up on this, which I don't know if he did yet, all he needs to do is just get a couple of static defenses, a few sentries as well, right? Anything, basically. Every second that goes by here is a fantastic one for Neeb. I would almost even say, I feel like he can give up this base, but he wants to defend it. I'm a little bit worried here, Ben. It's a single Colossus without a Warp Prism.
This is actually a large amount of bio, and the Warp Prism with speed just loses it immediately. There's no shield battery here, but this is so much weak bio. I mean, the supplies are very close. Wow.
Yeah. With an Immortal, with a Colossus, and shield battery overcharge being used there, then it's still going to be a hole. This is the kind of game I think that really stinks if you're Future. Like you said, if he is chilling, if he's feeling it, and he's playing some other games where he's on fire, he picks up on these things. At the highest level, a Reaper seeing a Twilight Council that's not researching anything at the 4-minute mark, that must be a Dark Shrine, man. Blink is never done at the 4-minute mark. That's impossible. And Neeb is too good to forget about Blink. Like, you might see me forget about Blink, or you might see Ben forget about Stim because he wants to do a Marine tank all-in. But you don't see Neeb forgetting about Blink. So I think this is something that Future could have picked up on. It's a shame he didn't.
It is a shame. And I mean, his opening was actually pretty damn good. Like, seeing that early engineering bait, it was like, oh, is he onto this? And it was like, no, unfortunately, he isn't. And one of the scans missing as well. It was just very unfortunate. Was he planning that SV pull? Maybe at some point later down the line, but not in the way that this happened at all. And honestly, that is a good way for Neeb to start the series as well, going for DTs. Because when I think of Neeb in PvT, I don't necessarily think of anything in particular. I feel he is kind of the full package when it comes to just playing a very, very solid PvT.
Yep, I think he's capable of playing Stargate in his matchup as well. He's great with Oracles, of course. Wouldn't even be surprised to see him bust out Phoenix in one of these games. Like, I think Neeb can definitely kind of do it all.
Yeah, with the new kind of meta around the 4-gate blink as well, I'm undoubtedly thinking that's what Future was probably kind of linking to, but Neeb's got phenomenal micro. And speaking of the fella himself, spawning over in the top hand side, it is Neeb.
A shaky first game, but let's see if he can get rid of that and just refresh and reset everything. Get ready to deliver an awesome performance here in Game 2. This is our Red Terran player. It is Future.
That game definitely stings, but you don't go into a series going for 3cc and thinking, oh yeah, this is the safest build in the world, I'll get away with it, right? Because I mean, going up against DTs when you didn't really, get to scout anything like that, it's a risk and it didn't pay off.
Yeah, it's still unfortunate though, because if he does put 2 and 2 together and he's like, wait a minute, and you get a turret in the front and you get a turret in your main, then I think you're in a really good position, right? Because Dark Templar, sure, it's not a massive commitment, but everything is a little bit delayed if you play Protoss and you do open up with a couple of DTs. And if you then also realize you're playing against triple CC, I gotta say, Ben, I wouldn't be feeling very comfortable, because then it'd be like, well, I know where this is going. I blinked twice and there is a bio army that's twice the size it normally is. And I don't have much stack to go up against that, right? So it could have gone really bad for Neeb, but yeah, obviously the way it played out was perfect in the end.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable on both fronts, because obviously if the DTs get shut down immediately, it's like, oh wow, that was a you know, what do I do now? Do an Archon drop with the DTs that are remaining and stuff? And it's like, against a lot of bio, it might go problematic. Just the lack of options for Future. But this game, he's going to go for a CC again on the low ground, which I like. I'm just hoping, okay, he is doing a different build to get this going. So I don't think it's going to be a 3CC build again. I'm expecting a factory, which
yeah, I think that's something that Future does one time to shake things up as well. He doesn't want to be too predictable. But I'd never ever see him open triple CC on Ever Dream against Neeb. Like, I think that's a bit crazy because then the Colossus pushes are going to be very scary to deal with as well, right?
Is that one thing that you think's really good on this map, like Colossus in general?
Yeah, I think that 3-base... Oh, whoa! This is actually like a pretty successful Reaper, right? Getting a kill, might get out of there, will get out of there. And all of those probes were being pulled as well. These are the little things that would really upset me. But yeah, I think that push where they basically push with, I think it's 3 Colossus, 1 Immortal, War Prism, and then the Templar Archives finishes up. Like, they have 3 Archons in the front as well. I think that's a devastating push in this matchup.
I was a bit weirded out by the fact that Neeb pulled probes against that.
Yeah,
I think it's much better to just kind of bring the damaged ones to the other side, like on the far away minerals, right? And you don't lose any and don't lose mining time. I think that's far more important. But
it is, but yeah, I think the only explanation there is that Neeb was convinced he was going to get the surround. And I think if you're 100% convinced you're going to get the surround, then I think it's okay to kind of pull the probes. But yeah, seeing 7 probes chase a Reaper when it's in no danger of getting surrounded, then it just looks a bit odd. I don't know.
Yeah, you're totally right. Okay, so this is more like the parting-esque opening. There is no 4th gateway on the way just yet, but that can be added. We do have a robo, so a little bit safe as well to follow things up. But this has become a fairly standard opening now in PvT. Blinkstalkers are generally pretty good against everything. Ooh, this Reaper Hellion just walking very easily into this base. Now, this is nice probe micro so far by Neeb.
Wow.
Oh, beautiful block with the Stalker as well.
Yeah, did end up losing 1 probe in the end, but I mean, that looked indeed a lot better than the beginning of this game. Very well handled there. It's actually so easy to slip up against Reaper Hellion, because if you don't have Blink yet, Reapers and Hellions are both faster than Stalkers. And then on top of that, Stalkers don't have that insane DPS. So it's very easy to lose 3 or 4 probes against something silly as like a Reaper and Hellion diving into your natural. So I think very well done by Neeb. What?
This is so it's a fakey. He's faking a Widowmine drop against his opponent here, which is cool. And he gets to see like, oh, there's no third starting at like a ridiculous time. Back at home, by the way, he's doing this. So skipping the Widowmines, he's actually getting his 3 racks up and running really damn fast, which, I mean, it's definitely a weird take on a build, but he's kind of, I think he's hoping that Neeb thinks this is totally not what it is. You know what I mean?
I'm looking from Neeb's vision, right? And there was the medevac boosting into the natural. And Neeb just looked at it and wiped in a Stalker, but he kept all the probes on position. And then the medevac actually went back, so nothing really happened. At the same time, Neeb dives on the bunker, which I don't think is really necessary, but hey, he managed to get the bunker down. Now a couple of Marines are taking some serious fire as well. That was just the weirdest exchange I've ever seen in the natural of Neeb. I'm sorry. It's like the empty medevac and Neeb just looking at it like, so?
This is, so I think when Neeb blinked on that, oh, whoa, going for the main base. This is very ballsy by Neeb, because I mean, this isn't a super scary number of Stalkers. It's enough to one-shot SVs, which is a big deal.
Yep, now that empty medevac came back, it's like, well, he's not really falling for it. I guess I have no purpose on the other side of the map. I better get home. Now, the bunker has been rebuilt. I don't think Alex is going to be able to get too much more done here. I gotta say, he's very adventurous with these Stalkers, where it feels like, do you really have to be? Maybe not. But hey, you got 9 SCVs. What really went down there in the end? 3 Stalkers, well, a couple of Marines went down as well. And obviously getting into the main base, I think is always nice. That worked out for Neeb.
Oh, it certainly did. Behind all of it, too, he like secured his 3rd base. He's getting Charge up and running, getting the Robo Bay, the Forge up as well. So economically, he's in good shape. I think when he blinked on that bunker, very often you can be like, okay, there's going to be this amount of bio. But obviously, Few tried a bit more. So I think the initial trade was a bit like, oh, dear, that's a lot of bio. But Neeb secured himself very well.
I mean, now he's just in a beautiful... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, this could be...
Oh, no, not like that. One medevac gets sniped immediately. Oh, I feel like
by the way, that was so clean by Neeb. Oh, and that was great too. So the Observer obviously got sniped, and he saw/heard the load up. knowing what Future's next move was, and blinked like into the darkness, into the shadow, into the unknown, sniped a medevac immediately. Beautiful play by Neeb.
Yep, the stock account's so high as well for this stall, but in this case it really worked out because Future was trying to get a lot of bio units out. Ben, this army looks sad. This army was supposed to be like 2 times as big than what it actually is, but because Neeb did such a good job with his Blink Stalkers, Future is in all sorts of trouble. He's stopping at 45 SCVs. He's not building another command center. Future needs to find damage within the next 30 seconds of this game. Otherwise, I'm afraid that Neeb's just going to run away with it. Neeb knows that this drop is coming as well. Stalker's already in the main base. Is Neeb going to blink? Yes. Can he get a medevac? Yes. Another one. And GG gets called. Just like that. Neeb with a flawless, dominating game 2 on Evergreen.
Future's game plan right now is playing a little bit weird and hoping that Neeb either overreacts or underreacts or something, but so far it's absolutely not panning out. And when Neeb's shutting you down this hard, when you think you're being kind of smart about your little quirky plays, like the medevac kind of hoping to fake a Widowmine drop and overreact, but Neeb's just like, it's like that moment where you like punch some guy in the face and he just stands there and takes it, but like there was no punch, you know? Like definitely a bad series for Future so far.
Yeah, it's brutal, right? Because you have all these ideas, and StarCraft 2 is a brutal game like that. A lot of this could play out in a very different way, and then we'd be sitting here like, oh, Neeb is keeping 4 Stalkers at home for the empty medevac. He's pulled the probes as well. This is so smart by Future. And then a big bio army just walks to the other side of the map, and suddenly he's like, surprise, you stim forward, and maybe you do indeed just kill Neeb there. It could have been a fantastic game that we would have gone crazy over, and we all would have been here applauding Future, giving him a standing ovation. Instead, it's a game where Neeb just runs to the other side of the map, and then the medevac did show up, looked at it, warped in the Stalkers, like, we'll see about that. And then just nothing goes your way, and then it turns into a disaster. So it's rough, but yeah, that's StarCraft, right? It can be very brutal.
It can, and I do appreciate the fact that Future is taking risks and kind of showing some plays that absolutely could be really damn good. It just feels like Neeb right now is just... he's so fast and precise about these moves. He's not feeling like, oh, damn, I need to like pull my probe so damn quickly. He really is respecting the fact that Future can pull out this weird shenanigans. Anyhow, spawning in the top right-hand side as our Red Terran, it is Future.
And in the bottom left side, the old guard now up 2-0. Looks clean and decisive so far. Can he close it out? It is Neeb.
Saw it again, right? The CC first and the Nexus first, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. Now that I spoke about it, I think I'll have it a little bit less. I just had to get it off my chest because I got legit scared like 5 times. I was like, what are these builds?
So like when it comes to a probe scout this early, how do you actually like to make your base and scout against Terran when it comes to Ice and Chrome? I don't know how I feel about it. Being this early, I mean.
You mean the probe scout?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Neeb just wants to be annoying. This is a Hawk probe, mate. He's gonna top 3 micro NA, soften up a couple of SCVs.
And make a little heart in his opponent's base. Oh, I do like how Neeb's kind of structured his gateway and his pylon so far, because like blocking off that jump ramp can be quite good against the potential Reapers that will be coming.
Maybe Neeb thinks that Future is capable of building a proxy Rex on his barracks, and he just wanted to get the scout ASAP if he was indeed getting proxy.
Yeah, I think so. The little dance at the command center location was done, but Future does bring down a second SCV. And that's the kind of thing that Neeb is okay with, because it does mean lost mineral time, but Future's also okay with just making sure he gets that CC on location.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a slightly more normal standard game. I mean, Future is an absolutely amazing... Oh, okay.
2-on-1.
Well, I'm gonna get some quick stim then, I guess, right?
It looks like it's going to be 2-on-1. I'm a little curious. I do feel that, you know, like the new Widowmine change with the armory, like gas first openings have become a lot more popular again in this matchup. So I'm a bit curious as to why Future's opting for these kind of builds as opposed to opting for something that is a little bit, you know, more standard slash has seemingly had more success. But he does get to scout the Stargate, which is good.
And now the factory is being proxied in the top left side of the map. I am a little bit lost, Ben.
Okay, I'm super lost, Kevin, because normally if you're doing this kind of build, so far this was every way, shape, and form a 2-1-1, where you want to pick up your Marines and march across. Maybe this is going to be some weird Thor push.
No. What? Really? That'd be awesome.
It feels to me like it's going to be something really weird. If it's going to be tanks from there and then just making the star put up there too, it would be cool. But this, okay, going for stim. I was going to say, if it was like combat shield, then you'd be using that gas to something. I still don't know.
The fact, I mean, if that was I actually don't know. We'll see, guys. We'll see where future takes this. Where I wanted to go, Ben, before all of this craziness took place, is we now do see a tech lab as well and a starport. So, okay, we'll see. I mean, every time I wanted to resume where I was, I'm just like, what is happening? What is this build? I haven't really seen this that often yet, but I want to say, like, Fuchsia is really good, and yes, he is aggressive, but he doesn't have to get this weird and this crazy to beat Neeb, right? And all these mind games, like, Future is good enough to win a normal, straight-up game against Neeb. Sure, he might be a little aggressive, he might not go ultimate late game, but he doesn't have to make it overly complicated either.
I'm also wondering, like, so when you see no tech in the main base, this to me makes me think that Neeb should just go around the map and just scout for like a proxy, like not just like a proxy tech, but maybe a third base randomly on the map. You know what I mean? Because so far he's scouted absolutely nothing, and he's kind of maneuvered around the entire base too, right? And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yep, Phoenixes are great to scout, and the Phoenixes are going to see this. And Ben, this is extra bad, because now all of the Marines are still on the other side of the map. And if I was Neeb, I'd go for this immediately. Like, what is that to protect the tank? Absolutely nothing. Okay, the Marines are going to move out immediately, realizing that this is bad, and they need to save it. But the Phoenix can maybe at least pick up the SCV already. It's a fantastic scout for Neeb. I gotta say, though, Neeb's army right now, not very good in a straight-up fight, though, Ben. Like, it's slow gateway units, no charge, no blink, obviously no Colossus inside, and the Marines are here to save the day. I'm a little bit worried, right?
I am worried, but I also think Neeb is responding in a very good way. Not going too crazy on the Phoenix, getting shield batteries, getting immortals and stuff, right? And his probe count, he's not going beyond 46. In a lot of ways, also production-wise, like Future trying to get out like more medevacs or air units or tanks to this army, it's going to be tough with those Phoenix on the map.
It is, but these are still just slow gateway units, and they really are not that powerful. One tank was actually not unloaded. Guardian Shield is very useful, but that shield battery is not up yet. There is an Immortal in the mix. It would be great for Future if he can activate the tank fire. But if the Phoenixes lift the tanks here, then I actually think these Marines are going to be in a lot of problems. That is exactly what Neeb is going for, Ben. This doesn't look very good for Future.
No, honestly, I don't really understand this build at all. And Future's push being shut down. A lot of his production on the left side of the map. I mean, Combat Shields is finishing in maybe like 10, 20 seconds as well. Just none of this felt like it lined up. And when you play against a player as good as Neeb, when he sees no tech in the main base, of course he's going to scout the entire map, which means, what is this going to do over here?
Well, not much. I think you may as well just cancel that tank indeed, at least save a couple of your resources, but this is just ultra bad news for Future. Economically, it's not that bad right now, but he's got no tech, and medevac does pop, but that obviously means that the Phoenixes are going to try to hunt this down as well. That's a cool move. He's trying to juke it out. Does Neeb know where it is?
Look at the scenery, by the way. Absolutely beautiful.
Is that a battlecruiser, man?
I wish battlecruisers were that big, Kevin. That is huge.
I mean, aren't they supposed to be massive? Like,
yeah,
as big as a planet?
Yeah, when you see them on the cinematics and stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, it's massive. Then I see it and it's like, yeah, I could fit like 8 lings on that thing. I don't know.
Well, the factory somehow survived. Don't ask me how. And it's now going to block the third nexus of Neeb. What can Future do? Is he rebuilding tech at home? Yes, he does already have a starport at home. And he did just pick up the Phoenix. I mean, as bad as all of this has been so far, being down only 3 workers is the positive.
That is a positive. That is a positive. I guess one of the bad things, like, you know, this is pouring salt in the wound at this point. Neeb now knows what he's up against next, which is absolutely going to be 5 racks. Very, very aggressive. I wouldn't be surprised if Future kind of just goes for some SUV pull or something. And Neeb, he doesn't even need to be aggressive or fancy, but he's going to be getting, what is this? Warp Prism speed as well. This is just, it's horrible, you know.
Yeah, I'm still... I don't want to call this game over yet. It is obviously very bad, but if Neeb makes a slip up with his War Prism, which we're getting pretty close to, are the buy units in the main base? Oh, imagine a couple of Marines there on the top side. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Future is trying to go up to 3 bases though, man. Like, I was kind of with you with the SCV pool, but he's building a 3rd command center, so... Uh-oh, this Colossus is just going to go to town on everything here.
Yeah, there's no Vikings in sight. And I mean, he had to remake that starport and what have you, so... This bio, while it's all well and good having it, oh my gosh, and this is very nice Warp Prism micro by Neeb. Mineral count is getting a little bit high for him, but he's seemingly having a lot of fun with what he's doing so far. Also, he denied the CC from going up. That production is still not being produced.
Oh, no. Okay, that is actually now being delayed for almost a full minute, because this has been going on for a little while. There's a Templar Archives going down at this point as well. A couple of Archons are going to be great because obviously Future does not have the tech or the economy to really start adding in those ghosts as well. And we may very well be looking at one of those big Protoss pushes with a couple of Archons, with Colossus. Does Neeb need to be aggressive? No. But can he be? I think so when he has Archons.
Yeah, and like just every step of the way, Future feels a little bit behind, right? Like... What's he really going to do against a better upgraded Protoss army soon? Although Neeb's making a lot of the right calls. He's even playing defensive, like getting cannons and stuff, taking a 4th base. He's just feeling very comfortable in this game now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, ever since you scouted what you were up against and then you defend the first push as convincingly as you did, I don't know, do you think Future missed micro when he didn't drop the 2nd tank immediately? It felt like the... It felt like the medevac went too far forward.
Maybe. I felt the whole play was rather boisterous. Like, obviously he wanted to get in range of the wall and stuff, but...
Yeah.
Oh, it was a tough one. I think it all went wrong as soon as Neeb scouted what was going on.
Maybe if this was a blink opener, then it's a lot harder to scout something like that. Because why the hell would your Stalkers ever be there on the top left side, right?
Yeah, and in that case... Maybe it can all work out a lot better, but against Blink Stalkers, also getting on the map with the Marines in the first place is a bit tricky.
Yeah, you know, maybe you just want to bait out an early stim, and then maybe if the Stalkers run back, because eventually you will push them back, then suddenly, surprise, you've got like 2 tanks set up there. Maybe it works out a lot better against that build.
Future's done a really good job of not falling too far behind in supply. I know he's skipping a lot of things like the 2-2 upgrades in the armory and stuff, but I think this is absolutely the right call by him, going into Ghosts. And now he's going to be doing like a really big bio ghost push, right? Like that's pretty much one of his only calls and still making quite a few tanks, getting a lot of Vikings out. I'm just really scared for him because this army of Neeb, it's going to start attacking in so many locations and he's getting double Robo Disruptor.
Well, yeah, I don't think Neeb is going to be the one doing the attacking. He's just going to kite his army a little bit, get a couple of shots off, fire a couple of Purification Novas in the middle as well. Already setting up a little Zealot run by just to be annoying. Yeah, Zealots are indeed coming in from every angle, and if you shoot, no, Neeb running forward in the center, super unnecessary. Neeb doesn't have to fight those tanks. He was thinking about it as, I mean, the Zealots are just slicing up everything at this point. And maybe when Future is sending too many units at home, maybe that's the moment that Neeb just go for it. But yeah, man, this game doesn't feel fair.
Look at those 3 Zealots. They're just whacking away. They don't even have to work for their meal, Kevin. 37, 41 SCVs are falling. In fact, oh my gosh, those Zealot run-bys, he's down to 18 SCVs, Kev.
Yep, and I mean, everything is just falling apart at this point for Future. If it didn't fall apart early on already, he may clean up the Zealots, and that's cool and all, but there is still a massive Protoss army left that's only getting better and better. And look at this army, Ben, and I mean, Neeb does have to be a little bit careful because he really doesn't have to commit right now. He doesn't need to fight. He's building up a lot of disruptors. Look in Neeb's 3rd base. He has like 4 disruptors just sitting there, warped in a whole bunch of Stalkers as well. Yeah, good luck running into that army.
It's kind of like that meme, right? Like, this isn't even my final form, and Future's going to struggle to take on the first wave of Neeb, but now the Disruptors are going to start marching in. Oh my gosh, the Disruptors almost killed himself.
Yeah, I think he kind of flipped his own Archon there as well. The other Disruptor, well, that's one way to make it a little bit easier and a little bit more exciting, perhaps. There's another Disruptor that also doesn't really connect. Can Future pull off a miracle here, Ben?
is getting as close as it ever can be. The first disruptors do finally land, but Future is very far behind the supply. The Vikings are all being picked off as well. The disruptor shots so far, though, they have not been the canning disruptors. There's more Future marching in, but I think the Colossus are just too good. That disruptor shot as well. GG.